Hi and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. Whilst those of you that are watching me on YouTube, watch me put on some tinted lip balm because I love lip balm. I hope that you are well. You are here today to hear a Mum Boss at Home community check-in in which that sounded very, what's the word? I don't know, very professional or something. This is where my clients complete a check-in form for me every week. My Mum Boss at Home community clients complete a check-in, and what I do is I collate all of the wins, all of the challenges, the questions and the musings, and then I answer it on a podcast, which means they get their answers and their support and you get to hear what's going on. And if you would like to know how you can join the Mum Boss at Home community, come and find the links in the show notes because we would love to have you. Okay. It was a little bit of a challenge getting check-ins from you ladies this week. So thank you for those of you that checked in. If you are watching on YouTube, this isn't me having spilled my lunch. I got my hair done today and I got a bit of hair dye on my top, so we'll worry about that. But yes, it was a bit of a challenge getting check-ins from everyone this week, probably because of the bank holiday. Please remember, if you have not checked in, and you haven't checked in for a couple of weeks, because there are a couple of you, I can't help you if you don't check in. So please, I send those check-in forms at around 7 a.m. every Sunday. And if you did it as soon as you saw it and just took, the 5 to 10 minutes that it takes you as soon as you saw it, rather than telling yourself, I'll do that later, just think of how much more information you would get and how much more support you would get. Also, something that I found with a good half of my clients this week is that they have done their check-in forms and then immediately said at the end of the check-in form, wow, I've just come to this realisation writing that out to you. The check-in form, yes, it's for me to give you feedback and for me to help you, but also it acts as a bit of self-reflection for you so that you can also help yourself, because you're with you all the time. I'm not with you all the time. Anyway, let's get on with the wins then. Laura is definitely seeing some changes in her body. In fact, she didn't say some, that's my word. She's definitely seeing her body changed and that she's getting more toned. Her and her husband got some rare child free time. They went for a big hike and it was a great way to spend the evening. Lovely, Laura. Claire's had lots of self-care this week and some healthy batch cooking. Well done. Helen's kept going. Even if she's not done everything, it's been quite busy and stressful, but she hasn't overeaten or comfort eaten. Helen, that's the perfect example of imperfect action. Okay, so you've not done everything, but you've tried to do as much as you can. Hannah was on a hen do on Saturday and she only had a few drinks. She danced loads and she was delighted when she woke up with no hangover, and actually she was less tired than the other days this week. She smashed her steps targets a few days this week too, which has felt great. Tish completed a 6k on Sunday. Well done, Tish. Jack has started feeling better after a big wobble. Lots of life circumstances going on there. She had a lovely day with her daughter on Friday, and she's trying to always find the positives when she's feeling wobbly, even the smallest thing. Okay, I wanted to stop here and just share something with you. I cannot speak more highly of practicing gratitude every single day. Okay, at the moment I'm doing a personal challenge to myself where I am writing down 10 things, big or small, every day that I'm grateful for, and they have to be different. I can't pick something that I picked a week ago. And it has been amazing for me feeling super positive on the days when I don't feel like being positive. And for example, on Sunday, I needed to run 18 kilometres, and I met Tish and Sarah for a run. And I told them I've been talking myself out of this and telling myself I can't do it because I was tired. I'd been a little bit ill last week. And then what I found is as I was running, I started telling myself how grateful I was for my legs that they can, and my feet for being, and my body for being able to do this. And I found it so empowering. So I love that, Jack. I love that you're trying to find positives when feeling wobbly, even the smallest thing. And I encourage everyone, this is why in all my journals, there is always a space for gratitude every day, because it is such a powerful tool. So if you don't do it, I encourage you to do it. Jackie, her win was eating healthily. Soph, during a really busy week work-wise, I've kept up the steps and most of my workouts. Well done, Sophie. Emma I really went hard at the gym 3 times, and I did a home workout. Who is she? I don't know. Who are you and what have you done with Emma? Well done. I'm proud of you. Tracy went away with work for 2 days and managed to make good food choices. She filled up her plate with lots of salads and only had a small dessert. Well done, Tracy. You also did your first solo road run in an amazing time, even with your dog, who went to the toilet 4 times. So well done. Lisa worked out twice and back to really enjoying it. And Stacey booked a mini break and acknowledged the craziness of the week and ate well. Great. Love these wins, ladies. Keep them coming every week. I love them. Okay, so let's go into challenges, questions, etc. So this person, I've been over my calories a couple of times. Once I ate a meal before I tracked it, so it was accidental. So this is something I talk about often, is if you are tracking, trying to make sure that you are planning and tracking your food as much as possible. I understand you're not going to track every single morsel, but track and plan your food ahead of time as much as possible. I mean, even if you're not tracking, planning is a super useful tool. But, excuse me, I'm going to cough. Sorry. But when you are, if you pre-track as much as possible, you've got less likelihood of these things, of accidental overeating. Now, I'm not worried about the overeating in this instance, and you'll understand why in a second. The next day I ate much less to make it up, and that was hard as I was hungry. Please, 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 and please do not eat much less the next day to make up for going over your calories. This does not work. And this is the mindset that is going to hold you back from this being a whole lifestyle change rather than just a change to get to your goal weight. Okay? I cannot overemphasize this. I cannot. This is the mindset, particularly this person, that has got you to the stage that you are. Okay, we do not need to completely restrict our calories the next day. I've looked at how many calories you went over, and it was fine. It is not like you went 1,000 calories over. And even if you did go 1,000 calories over, I would not recommend that you do this. Okay. The next part of this question is, yesterday me and my husband went to our favourite place for lunch. It's a noodle place. I didn't eat breakfast and had what I always have, which is nearly my whole daily calorie allowance. Okay, so on that next bit, I don't advise you cutting out a meal either to make up for going out. Okay, so me and my husband were talking about this. You could go and eat, I think, on Friday I ordered my son pizza, and we worked out that a medium pizza is pretty much my husband's whole calorie allowance for the day. I think it was a medium one, or maybe it was a large one. No, it was a large one. It is nearly my husband's whole calorie allowance for the day, right? And, we were talking about, well, you wouldn't skip breakfast and lunch to eat that whole pizza, right? You try and eat normally. You maybe would, reduce your carbs a little bit in both of those meals and not overindulge. But I really, really cannot, again, overemphasize, I do not advise you miss a meal in order to make up for going out. Life is about balance. It's about enjoying the child-free times, enjoying the social occasions. This is what brings us health. Okay, the World Health Organization define health as not just your physical well-being, your emotional, your mental, your environmental, your social well-being. That is what health is. And that means that we need to have these social occasions. We need to have these meals out. As parents, we need to have these child-free times, okay? So cutting out meals in order to go to your favourite restaurant, that's not a healthful approach to this. What I would have preferred you to have done is to have stuck to your regular breakfast. So if I give you my example, if I was doing that, my regular breakfast is somewhere between 500 and 600 calories, depending on whether I add, peanut butter to it or whatever. So on that day, I just wouldn't have added peanut butter because that's an extra 60 to 90 calories I don't need. I just do it because I like the taste. And I probably would have added a little bit less. At the moment it's fruit and fibre for me, but it could be granola to my regular breakfast of oats, fruit, Greek yogurt, right? So I would have probably brought that breakfast down to about 450. And then if it was tonight that I was going out, maybe for lunch, I would have had a big tuna salad or a big chicken salad and then gone out and had that meal, right? So I don't want you cutting out these meals, because what happens is you overindulge because you let yourself get too hungry. Okay, you've then said you were going to go for tea, but you chose to compromise. You had a homemade salad and stayed in. You were still over calories, but only by a few, and this was a bit challenging, but we agreed it was just as nice. So to me, it really sounds like you've compromised on a child-free date day because you were worried about the amount of food and calories you were eating, and that makes me really, really sad, and I don't want you to do that. I would like to remind you all that you are in roughly a 500 calorie deficit per day, so roughly a 3,500 calorie deficit per week. Even if you went over your calories on one day by 400 calories, so over your range by 400 calories, you are still in roughly a 100 calorie deficit. If you go over by 500 calories, you are still in maintenance, but you would still be in roughly a 300 calorie deficit for the month. A 3,000 calorie deficit for the week. If that meal out was your whole calorie allowance for the day, plus you added on your breakfast and then went out for tea and picked something quite light, because you probably didn't need a huge big meal anyway because you'd had that big lunch, you probably would have come in at maybe 500 to 800 calories over your maintenance for the day, right? That does not mean you would put on weight, because you have a 3,500 calorie deficit for the whole week. You would still have been in a calorie deficit for that week. This is not a healthy approach to weight loss, and I really need everyone to hear and understand this. Okay, just because you go over your calorie allowance on one day or even 2 days does not mean you are going to put on weight that week. Even if you went over your calorie deficit by 500 calories for 7 days, you would likely come in at maintenance. So you could eat across the week 3,500 calories over and still not put on body fat rather than weight, because all you've done is eat at maintenance. We need to get out of this mindset of binge and restrict. We need to get out of this mindset of I need to give up the social times and the fun times and the quality time I have with my family, my husband, my kids, my friends, my work colleagues, in order to lose weight. Because let me tell you, if you keep this mindset, even when you get to your goal weight, and I'm saying that in bunny ears, your goal weight, you will end up just going back to where you started, because you will go straight into that binge mode. Right, I've hit it now. And you won't have learned how to control this. You won't have learned how to do life. We need to do life. This is why we don't do the fad diets, the over restrictive diets, because do you want to get to 90 and think, oh, I wish I hadn't have gone out for that noodle dinner over that bank holiday weekend in 2024? No. You want to get to 90 and be like, oh my God, I made such good memories with my family and my friends. Oh, do you remember when we used to go to that noodle place that isn't open anymore? Oh, they don't make noodles like that anymore. You can't get a noodle lunch like that anymore. Oh, wasn't that great when we used to do that? Come on, ladies, come on. We've got to get out of this. Okay? This isn't a healthy approach, and I know this sounds like I am being really tough, but sometimes tough love has to happen. Okay? So I really, really want you to consider this. And, another approach is to use me. Next time you know that this is happening, and maybe the child-free situation was a bit last minute, but when you know you're going out, use me. Send in the group, send the menu, send us an idea of where you're going. Let us help you choose and plan around that. That is what this is for. Okay? You also said that you're panicking, so you're not weighing at the moment. You're panicking now that you'll have put on weight this week with a couple of days a wee bit over. I've just covered all that. I also covered it, I'm pretty sure, last week and the week before. You are still in a calorie deficit. So you may have put on scale weight if you weighed yourself this morning because you've eaten a bit more food. It won't be body fat, okay? You've also put, plus I've done lots of exercise this week, more than usual. So this is just a question for you to reflect on and for everyone. Have you done more exercise to compensate for going out? Okay. Please remember that the calories burned on your smartwatch, on Strava, on whatever, are not accurate. So I don't want you using exercise as a way of punishing yourself for going a tiny bit over your calories. Okay, we don't exercise to lose weight. We exercise for our health. Okay, I want you all to get to a place where you don't need to restrict and cut meals or do more exercise for making up for going out and having a great time with your family and your friends. You should go out, you should enjoy yourself, and I want to help you to not go into a panic about what that means for your calories. Okay. Okay, I'm really enjoying the home workouts. I've managed 3 this week. Well done. I've run once and had a hilly walk. I might run again tonight if my friends ask me to. It does feel like a lot, and sometimes I felt like too much. However, on days when I'm just walking, I feel lazy. Have you set my calories based on my activity before, which was usually like the above, or is there space for me to have 1 or 2 days a week where I just do my steps? Okay, doing just your steps is not lazy. Firstly, your calories are fine where they are. They allow for you to do between 3 and 5 days of exercise a week plus get your steps. Okay, so do not feel lazy. I've mentioned this on podcasts before, so I hope everyone listens to the whole podcast and doesn't just wait for their questions to be answered, because I know I've definitely answered this before. Less is more in lots of cases, so you do not need to be exercising 5, 6, 7 times a week. I want you to train 3 times a week at least. I would love you in particular for this to be 2 of those to be strength training, and if you want the other 1 or 2 to be runs, that's fine. And then you can have 3 days of just steps. Remember, your exercise is for your health, for your bones, for your muscles. Your steps are for your health and will also contribute to that weight loss, but it's not the be all and end all. Your food and your mindset is what is going to help you with the weight loss. Okay, right. More of a realisation than a question. I've done my measurements and there's a small change, plus on the scale a slight change. It's weird though, as I feel smaller, so would have expected it to show more. However, I haven't taken photos and I think it might be more noticeable there. My thighs are much smaller, I can feel it in my clothes, and when I move, though of course we just take on one thigh measurement and it won't be in exactly the same place each time. That's the key. So whilst the numbers are small, I do feel overall that things are moving. So remember, your measurements, you might take them in a slightly different place each time, unless you've got some kind of tattoo, or for me there's a couple of moles I use as my points. You will take your measurements in slightly a different place each time. They're not accurate. But here is a lesson for everyone. Pictures and clothes are golden. I've been looking through and I've noticed that some of you are not tracking your weights and measurements. And if you don't track your weight and measurements and you haven't taken pictures, and you then say to me, I'm not getting anywhere, I'm not making progress, I can't help you. Because if I don't have your weights, measurements and pictures, I can't actually see whether you've made progress. And I'm telling you, from one of my one-to-one clients this week, she's been with me for 8 weeks, the difference in her pictures is incredible. She's lost 6 kilograms, so what's that, a stone, I think, just under a stone. But the difference in her pictures, you would think she'd lost about 3. So please, even if you don't want to share your pictures with me, you don't want to put them on Everfit, that's fine. But please take your measurements. Please take some pictures for yourself, because they are so, so key. Okay, next one. Tiredness. I still push myself to go for walks, even in the rain, but being tired led to snacking and then feeling bad about it. So my first comment here is don't feel bad about it. Just don't let it inform the rest of your week or day. It's actually your responses to the snacking or going over your calories that are the problem, not the actual act of the snacking or the going over. But you've also recognised why it's happened, which is the tiredness. And this person goes on to say, I've not been making excuses, but I've been getting in my own way by mindlessly grabbing snacks that aren't fruit or protein. And it's what my body has been craving due to feeling really tired. But I do know it isn't what my body needs. So then I felt cross with myself, especially when I've stuck to my plan and made good choices with meals. Okay, so rather than waste your time and your energy on being cross, can you address the cause of the problem, which is tiredness? Okay, why are you tired and what can you do to be less tired? Okay, I had such a busy weekend. Saturday we went to the radio, one big weekend. Didn't get home till about 10:30 and didn't sleep very well. I slept at my mother-in-law's, didn't sleep very well. Sunday I went for an 18-kilometre run, and then we had Charlie and Tom's end of season football party, and we stayed out again until about 10 p.m. and that's quite late for me. I wasn't drinking on either day, but that's quite late for me. And so when I got up yesterday, I was exhausted. I had the live workout to do. I had one-to-one and last diet club check-ins to do. And you know what I did? I set myself a time limit. I set myself an amount of time I was going to spend doing it, and then I was going to stop. And whatever I didn't get done was going to be done the next day. Now I realise I have the benefit of being able to do that. I am self-employed. And then I chose to, from 3:30, spend the rest of that afternoon resting on the sofa, watching a film with my husband. I got an early night. I made sure I didn't have excessive amounts of screen time before I went to bed so that I slept well. I managed the tiredness. My tiredness would not have got any better if I hadn't have gone to bed on time and if I'd done all of those things that I know aren't a good thing to do. I woke up this morning after 7.5 hours sleep. Yes, I still felt a bit tired initially when I woke up. I could have easily stayed in bed, but I knew what my body needed was for me to go and move it. So I went to the gym. Okay, and now I feel amazing. So rather than being cross with yourself, that's a waste of energy, address the problem, okay? Address what's going on and really think about what your body needs versus what your body wants, okay? Good. Right. I weighed myself as it's the end of the month, so this is someone who's only weighing once a month, and I haven't put weight on, which shocked me after a couple of off weeks. However, with reflection, I've not been doing much weight training, so I'm not pleased about this as I feel like it could be due to the loss of muscle. Okay, it's unlikely that you have lost loads of muscle, but you won't know for sure. It's impossible to know for sure unless you go and get, one of those massive scans that you can have done, right? Not the things at the gym that say they scan your body mass, your muscle mass index or anything like that. So instead, what I want you to think about is, what do you need to do to progress for next month? Let me just say, being at maintenance for this month after having a week for a holiday and then struggling to get back on track after that is progress. That is a great result, okay? But if it's not the result you wanted, and if when you weigh yourself in June, you want to have lost some body fat, what needs to change? Okay, you've put in here that you're not tracking properly. Sorry, that's my alarm to remind me I need to go and do a client one-to-one now, so I'll be back to this afterwards. But you've said you're not tracking properly. In fact, your words were not tracking properly. Ridiculous. Okay, so is that something that you need to promise yourself you're going to do for the rest of this week? What about your measurements? You haven't recorded them in Everfit, so have you taken them? So as per what I said earlier, if you haven't, why not? As they're going to tell you more about your progress than the scales. How about your clothes? How are they feeling? So let's look at the full picture. I'm so pleased you are only weighing once a month. That makes me really happy, because I think it will be great for your mindset. However, I also want to see some measurements in there and some pictures or trying on a specific item of clothing. Okay, next question then. This week's been tough. So this person has had a really busy work week. They've had clients over, escorting them to meetings, leaving the house super early, out all day with them, trying to make the best high protein choices, more fish than they'd usually eat, but the veggie options were really low in protein. They did drive to the station to avoid drinking at dinners, but the schedule was really packed and she didn't really feel that she ate enough this week, and then overcompensated at the weekend. So under where have you been getting in your own way? I definitely told myself I was allowed to indulge a bit over the weekend because the week was so busy. I also could have planned my snacks, etc., whilst out at meetings, but I was worried what the clients would think, and also I had a lot to carry already, so I didn't want to add to the load. Okay, so this kind of work week is really tough, and this was kind of my life actually. When I worked in corporate, I travelled a lot. So I remember this well. And I had to do a lot of this travelling in Germany, where my main options were bread. So making the best choices where you can is imperfect action, and that's great. So you've done what you can. You've controlled the controllables. Choosing to drive instead of drinking, it would be really easy to say, oh, it's expected of me to drink with these clients, but you chose to drive. instead. The biggest problem here is the overcompensating. And that rarely balances out, which is why I made the point I did earlier about not skipping meals to make allowances for dinner out or eating way less the next day, because it's so hard to balance that out, okay? And it also leads to a really unhealthy binge and restrict cycle, and it is often the cause of people not making progress. Now, I know specifically this person has had challenges in the past with staying on track at the weekends. So when you're making habit and behaviour changes to try to keep your weekends a bit more balanced, and then, you know, this kind of week happens and you make those allowances for yourself, it can be, you know, taking a little bit of a step backwards on your habits. But I don't want you to beat yourself up for it, okay? And this is also a little bit similar to eating back your exercise calories, which I hope none of you are doing, because I've worked out all of your calories based on your exercise. So a better approach might have been accepting this as a coast week. And this actually links into the question that you sent me on WhatsApp, okay, which I'm going to share with everyone in a second. But accepting this is a bit of a coast week and bringing yourself up to maintenance if you're choosing to track your calories and track to that maintenance number. So, you know, send a message in the group, ask me to help you with that. And actually, that's a point I want everyone to remember is, you know, that WhatsApp group is there for you to ask these questions ahead of time. And you should be doing that, so please do. But see this week, what you could have done is see this week as a coasting week, okay? Bring yourself up to maintenance, and then you can, once things are a little bit more in control, you can drop back down to your calorie deficit. So, as an example, the next few weeks for me are crazy. The beginning of June always is. It's my birthday next Wednesday. I am going out to see Take That this Thursday. We're going out for dinner before we go. I'm going to a spa day all day Friday, and we've got afternoon tea on the Friday. I'm going out for brunch on Saturday. It's my birthday next Wednesday. And then I have my half marathon 4 days after my birthday. Then it's my brother's birthday, something like 5 days after that. Like, June is just a lot. There's birthdays, there's Father's Days, there's like these constant celebrations. Now, for me, I know I'm probably going to be eating a little bit more than I normally would over the next 2 weeks, and that's okay. But where I've made my compromise, so this is a bit of a couple, you know, I don't have a fat loss goal at the moment, but let's say I did have a fat loss goal. I would probably just tell myself that I'm going to eat to my maintenance calories for the next 2 weeks, and accept that for the next 2 weeks, my goal, a good result for me, is just to stay the same. And that I'm not aiming to lose weight for the next 2 weeks. I just want to stay the same, so that I can enjoy, you know, my meal out before Take That. I can enjoy my afternoon tea. I can enjoy my brunch. I can enjoy my birthday. I mean, everyone should be enjoying their birthdays anyway, but that would be an approach that you could take that gives you that little bit more flexibility. And just on that, so you sent me an Instagram reel, thank you very much, about maintenance breaks. Okay, so I just want to explain what maintenance breaks are and my thoughts and feelings about them. So this reel described, no, it wasn't a reel, was it? It was a post, maintenance breaks. And what a maintenance break is 1 week, sometimes it's more, where you're eating at your maintenance calories. And what this can really help with is dieting fatigue, and to reset you physically and mentally, okay? Now, I will implement these if I notice that people need to take that break. But here's why I do it with caution. most people take roughly a full week off on holiday every 3 months, right? Sometimes a bit more than that, excuse me. For example, in August, I'm away for 3 weeks, which means that in July, I won't take it, I won't necessarily be taking any time off. September, I won't necessarily be taking any time off. If I was working in a corporate job, I would be having less holiday roundabout now to make up for the fact I'm taking 3 weeks off in August, right? Most people take roughly a full week off every 3 months or so. And that might be made up of long weekends or a week's holiday or 2 weeks holiday here and there, where they're naturally going to eat at maintenance and sometimes maybe higher. Okay. Now, we've been talking about this in the last few weeks, and today as well, I've given you quite a bit of tough love about this, where some of you have been freaking out about eating 50, 100, 150 calories over your top range of your calorie deficit, right? So you naturally might be doing this. This person who shared this post with me naturally probably ate at roughly maintenance for a couple of days last week, or maybe over the weekend where they ate more. So I really liked this post because it talked about maintenance still being progress, which I've already mentioned in the podcast already. Maintenance is still progress. And if all of you stop working with me and then I catch up with you in 12 months time and you're like, yeah, I've maintained my weight loss, I'll be like, great, that's progress. That's, brilliant. That's the biggest sign for me that you're doing well in your work with me, is that you've maintained the weight loss. And I don't think many of you see staying the same weight as a result. But here's something about maintenance breaks, or what I would call them diet breaks. And some of you might not like this. Getting consistent with your basic habits and your deficit is what needs to happen first. And understanding what your deficit is, with or without tracking, has to happen first, or else how do you know when you're in maintenance, and how do you know what that feels like? So getting that consistency, not perfection, consistency needs to happen first before you can start to, then see the benefit of diet breaks. If you do feel like you need a diet break, then let me know and I can work out how you can do that with you. But I would say that there's clients that I will approach and say to them, I think you need a diet break. But I also know that for most people that I work with, you're taking a holiday every couple of months anyway, which is naturally a diet break. So I thought it was a great post. I just also know from experience that it's something that naturally comes in and doesn't as often need to be something that is structured. Great. I've lost about a stone now. Will you need to adjust my calories as my weight drops? And when would this be likely to happen? So I've rechecked your calories. I've adjusted it by taking 50 off, but your range is still fine to stay at 1500 to 1700. Your bottom range does not need to drop below 1500. 50 calories really here or there is, what is that, one baby bell a day. Okay, so please don't overthink this. I've adjusted it because you've mentioned it, but really it's not a huge, because all of you have a range, okay, and that range, the middle point of that range tends to be your 500 calorie deficit, because sometimes you eat below that, because sometimes you eat above that. Those 50 calories don't really matter. So I'm not going to drop your range to 1450 to 1650. It's just going to stay at 1500 to 1700. Someone has asked, how do you get your exercise in whilst you're away? So me personally, we drive to France every year. So I take 2 dumbbells on holiday when we drive to France. Because we're away for 3 weeks. If we're staying in a hotel where there's a gym, I will use the gym. Before we started driving to France, I would do body weight workouts when we were away for that long. When I went to Mallorca for 5 days last summer, I went to the gym a couple of times. But I did loads of walking. I didn't do much swimming because the sea was really cold. I always try to maintain my 10,000 steps on holiday. And I would always do body weight workouts. You know, I wouldn't do 4 or 5. I'd maybe do 2 or 3 for the weeks that we were away. Sometimes I choose. So last year when we were away for the 3rd week that we were away, I just didn't do any. I just rested and naturally did my 10,000 steps because we went for a walk every day. If you listen to episodes 101, which is weight loss on holiday, and then episodes 119, weight loss and travel. So that's how I approach holidays and also how I would advise you approach traveling with work. Okay, last one here. I know that when things are going well for me, I tend to sabotage my progress and hit the button. I've made my plan for the week to prevent this, but do you have any advice on this? Okay, so I think the fact that you've already thought about it is preempting it. I think you need to preempt the excuses, you need to pre-plan for them. When you find yourself making those excuses, what are you going to tell yourself? How can you show up for yourself and continue to show up for yourself when you know this is your pattern? Now, I also know from a previous question, I didn't read this all out, but this person ended up on an unplanned night out on Saturday, drank quite a few cocktails, was out very late, was feeling quite delicate on Sunday. So I know that, and they've also said that they feel like they've let themselves down and taken a step further away from my goals. So here's what I want to say on all of that is, firstly, you might start to be thinking today, tomorrow, a bit down about that because alcohol has a natural kind of depressive way about it. You will be tired because you will have missed out on sleep. So really think about, what does my body need versus what do I want to do? I might want to curl up on the sofa and scroll TikTok, but actually what does my body need? It needs me to go out for a walk. Be aware that you are going to be feeling like you just want to curl up and sleep following that big night out. In terms of feeling like you've let yourself down, what I would say to you is, it was one of those nights that it sounded like you got quite carried away. It also sounded like you had quite a lot of fun. Can we just draw a line under it and make sure that this week you are sticking to your habits and your goals? And like I say, preempting the excuses and pre-planning for them. Now, what I would also like you to do, because I know what your social plans are, is work out what the next month looks like in terms of social plans. So you have a wedding. What else do you have coming up in your diary? How can you plan for those, and how can you try to remain consistent around those plans? Take the control, make the plans, take the action and make it happen. Okay, there is no, what's done is done. You drank too many cocktails, you were out really late dancing, having a fabulous time, and that's fine. Like, you should be able to do those things. You feel a bit guilty because you probably went a little bit too far, but it's done. There's no point worrying about it. Instead, plan out the next 2-3 weeks, what that looks like and how you can remain consistent to your goals while still enjoying the events and occasions that you've got going on. Okay, good. Right, thank you so much, ladies, for that check-in. I hope that this is helpful, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.